Yo, dumelang kaofela. Welcome to everybody to another great and exciting episode of GMTV. Of course, I'm your host with the most, Gogo Moyo. I've been on a lovely and splendid trip down the KZN coast, and I would like to share with you what I got up to. Firstly, before we get into it, thank you to all my current subscribers, all 28,000 of you. Thank you so much for making it a priority to make me a part of your lives and clicking the notification button as well. And if you're new, make sure that you join us as we are targeting a goal of 30,000 subscribers so that we can be able to have more competitions and exciting things in store for you. Story time. So, I am 32 years old as of 8th of September. I was born in 1988. Right, a monumental time in my life. So, I went on a trip to KZN with one of my best friends, and I've been in friendship with him since the year of 2014. Meet Paul. Paul is a developer. He does a lot of programming for banks and government institutions. But on this particular trip, we'll just call him the dude, right? So we've been in a friendship for long enough, so that's 6 years now, and we have been basically having the time of our lives. He is Xhosa and I'm obviously Shona, and we are peas in a pod. His birthday is literally 2 days before my birthday, so which makes it particularly more interesting why I'd always choose him over anyone else when it comes to traveling and celebrating our lives. We went down to KZN, we drove, and part of our drive and part of the reason why we went on this particular trip is because birthdays are really important for us. And as you know, this is like a very reflective time for any person. And when it comes to birthdays, sometimes when people don't get out of their spaces to come celebrate you, you feel perhaps on the low side thinking that no one loves me, or I'm not worth celebrating, or the friendships that I keep with people are not necessarily the friendships that I think I have. Well, to change the tone of that, and part of our How to Heal Yourself program this morning, I'm going to be talking especially about mindset and how you approach birthdays generally. We went on this trip so that we can be able to have more of ups when it comes to our memories of us celebrating our birthdays than for basically leaving it out there into the universe, almost like we're hoping and praying that people are going to come and celebrate us. This is probably the fourth trip that I've had with the dude. We've gone to Eastern Cape, we've gone to Mpumalanga, we've basically been around. And now this is probably our last holiday in South Africa before we step out into the greater African continent. The trip was all about reflection, celebration, love, and being able to really be solid in identifying who we are as individuals. Part of the themes for these videos that are going to come up is the dragonfly season. Dragonflies signify a transition in a person's life, being adaptive in your life, as well as being able to transition gracefully from one period to another, especially when you've come to a certain age and you feel like you've been doing something long enough that you should have like a signature move about it, or a signature phrase or way about living your life. This time when I moved into the first location we slept at, and that was on the Shelly Beach front, there's a guest lodge that we went into there. It's called Maden, and lovely of Yvonne welcomed us at a really ridiculous time in the evening because we don't really like to plan for these trips. We go on the whim. On the first night, while I was sitting on the balcony throwing around a card, a series of tarot cards, a dragonfly came and it sat on my drink, and then it proceeded to sit on my card. And I'm like, a dragonfly? Really? Whatever. And then obviously, me being myself, I take heed on any kind of energy that I get around me. I went on to research, and it told me about the adaptive nature of a dragonfly and its transformation. And actually, that's how the dragonfly season came to be. As I transition into the rest of the video, please take a look at all the precious and special moments that I had. I drank to myself, I toasted to myself, I laughed and enjoyed the elements around me, I let waves crash into me, and I managed to sip a glass of champagne every single morning on the beachfront for as long as I was out there in the coast. It was really a beautiful time that I had with my friend. He was still working, and that's why some of the videos that you're going to hear, there's actually voices of people being in meetings, because he was still on the clock while actually on this trip. So it almost felt like I was with him, yet I had the ability and the comfort of knowing that though I had private moments to have for myself. You're going to see a lot of times where I'm going to be sitting on my own and being very reflective, looking out into the ocean, looking out at and listening in on all the different elements that are around me. And all of this was very important for me because it allowed me a chance to really, really take in the moments that I had around me. Watch as I wake up to greet the sun, and yeah, well, life happens. In my personal experience, it's always important to be reflective. Like, that's something that I thrive on. Always go back and look at where you've been, what was important, and what actually you've learned from that experience. On this particular trip, we went road tripping. I went hiking, sightseeing. I was on a suspension bridge, which I absolutely did not particularly like. I went foofy sliding, 14 slides from and all in all, it took something like 45 minutes to go from the top of that hill all the way to the bottom. Coming back up that hill was absolutely scary. I don't have a video of that, but I hated that experience. And I think if I had shot it, I would have dropped my phone. So that wasn't necessarily all that great. Basically an absolute four-wheelers experience, and that's the kind of things that you'll actually get to see. I got to go to a Rebi Lodge, the nature, the game reserve. I also found a river that I followed along the riverbed, and ngapahla lapho. So it was also part of a spiritual moments that I got to have on the trip. It wasn't just all fun, but I found it as a great time for me to connect with all my different ancestors, from whether they were water ancestors or they were ancestors from nature themselves. So that's how I got to be able to tie in the entire video and experience of the whole week, knowing that I've spoken to different elements of myself. Something about that was I found particularly interesting about this particular way of how I celebrated my birthday is that, especially looking at anxiety and depression, as a person who's recognizable, when you walk around, people know and can identify who you are. But they identify only with the bold and the strong character that you've always displayed on the videos and the conversations and the talks that you have with people, that people tend to actually forget that you're one of them. And that's why in this particular instance, this video is so much more reflective of myself, because you know me, all prim and proper, very staged and very scripted. This allowed me a chance to just ramble on about certain things that were very important to me. oh ah oh ela mi tonga linga bo ah oh ah lia memeza oh ah oh ela mi tonga linga oh ah oh ah lia memeza oh ah oh ela mi tonga linga oh ah oh ah lia memeza oh ah oh ela mi tonga linga oh ah oh ah lia memeza oh ah oh ah ela mi tonga linga oh ah oh ela mi tonga lia memeza ela mi tonga linga oh ah
She's driving.
Really? You're gonna tell people that I'm driving?
Yeah. In case you find this video, we're not there to explain.
I don't want what?
I wanted them to move, most they were just chilling.
Sure, that right. I sincerely hope that you were able to enjoy watching my video on my KZN trip. I had a lot of fun, and the highlight of actually everything was me being able to go to Beria, which is in town, and I got to visit their Muti market. And I found it so very interesting how you just walk into a place and there's umuti everywhere. Again, you don't know who's the best person to speak to when it comes to this particular space or who to buy from. But obviously, Itongo knows best, and spirituality is always going to be able to lead us. I found myself jumping from one place to another, and when I found the right person, Itongo was able to affirm me in that moment. So that was particularly my favorite thing to do on this whole trip. In celebration of me, I would like to open up a platform for you guys to be able to have more celebrations with myself, and that is the competition that I have going on for this dragonfly season. And I found 32 reasons why to choose life, especially after following the anxiety and depression videos that we did and how easy one can find themselves in a slump. So we have found 32 reasons of why not to be in that slump, but instead to choose life. And that's exactly what's been going on in this particular video. 3 of my lucky subscribers, especially people that have been dropping comments in the comment section over the whole series of GMTV. We're not even talking about Esasen Dumbeni series now, we're just talking about GMTV on its own. I'm going to randomly select from 3 of those people, and they're going to be able to have a wine and dine experience with me, especially to close off the month in a more celebratory fashion, considering that it's my birthday month. So if you find yourself getting a mail from me, then you must automatically assume that you are part of the chosen people. Unfortunately, for anyone else prior to this video, you can't prepare for this win. It's almost like the work that you've been doing towards adding your comments and your conversations with us on GMTV has already allowed for you to be in the running, to be in this competition. So some of you guys are already going to be like, oh, while other people are like, yes, because as life presents itself to us all the time, some things you can prepare for them, and some things you've already way prepared for them long in advance. So this is basically just affirming you in this particular right, because there's people that are very loyal to the channel who mean the world to me, and I absolutely appreciate. And I would like to have a vote of thanks for you and invite you to come celebrate my birthday with me. Thank you so much. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who actually watches the ads. That is another way for you to donate to the channel. And if you find that you're on premium, bougie, Lani, aren't you? If you find that you're on premium, then you can actually use our PayPal link for you to donate to the channel. It's actually in the comment section below, and I'd appreciate any single one of you guys that actually go out of your way to help donate to the channel. It takes a lot of money to make it. Studio time, research, personnel behind the scenes. These are some of the expenses that I have when it comes to creating this dope content for you. And thank you so much anyway for just watching the channel, sharing, liking, subscribing, and being part of the GM community. Thank you so much to the Gifted Society, and thank you for tuning in to this particular episode of GMTV. Thokozani.